Batman boxing talk. Brandon and Allen. Tony's our fallen soldier today.
Yeah, he couldn't make it.
He couldn't make it today, but we wanted to touch on the Canelo Kayla Plant fight last night.
Yeah.
Here's how I saw the fight. To beat Canelo Alvarez, you have to first thing you have to do is you have to stop him from coming forward. If you're going to allow him to keep coming forward, you're basically giving the judges nothing to give you. Kayla Plant had moments where he stopped Canelo, but it just wasn't enough. When we talked about this earlier, I saw 2 rounds that I could have gave Kayla Plant. My boy Brandon, you said
I gave Kayla Plant 1, 3, 4, and 5.
Okay.
And then I thought 2 was one of those rounds that could have went either way, but I gave it to Canelo because I figured the judges probably would too.
Which I think they did.
But
he was up by, I think the scores I remember was 98-92.
Yeah, those scores was
97-93.
kind of weird.
And it wasn't 96-94.
I thought Caleb won 4 rounds of the first 5, and then I thought like I predicted, man. I thought Canelo's foot pressure and the mental pressure that would be on Kayla Plant would force Kayla Plant to fight when he didn't really want to fight.
Right.
And that paid dividends for Canelo, because I think Kayla Plant got comfortable in the first round, second round, being able to throw jabs, look cute with the foot movement. But Canelo, being experienced, understood that in the later rounds in this type of fight, all of that unnecessary movement that you're using, you're gonna need that later on.
Yeah.
Caleb didn't understand that. That's where the experience came in. And then, like I told you on the phone, Canelo had 10 levels on his elevator, and Caleb only had 6.
Right.
So when Canelo got to the 6th round and Caleb was on his top floor, Canelo took it up a notch.
Yeah.
And when Canelo picked up the pace, Caleb didn't have much left. And like I said, people can say what they want to say about his defense should have been sharper. He should have held the phone. When you get tired, that goes back to the Deontay Wilder and any other fight. When you get tired, your fatigue sets in. You can't do the same stuff that you did in round 1, in round 9, and round 10. That's where the experience comes in.
Right.
But all of that, he should have held the phone. Yeah, it's easy to say when you ain't been in there for 10 and a half rounds.
Fatigue. Another example of that is when the second Charlo and Harrison fight, where
got tired.
He got tired. So the timing, because he was tired, the timing was off for him to put that left hand up and catch that right hand before it touched his chin. But because he didn't get that left hand up, he got caught.
Yeah, and on
right
top
hand,
of that,
sorry, right hand. But he got caught.
And on top of that, instead of the hook being short, he started throwing the hook wide. And if the hook would have been shorter, he would have been able to get out of there in time. But because of him being tired, his body reverted back to what it normally does when it's tired. And that's everybody. I don't give a fuck what type of athlete you are. When you get tired, you're not going to be able to do the same stuff that you can do when you're fresh.
Not only that, but also the hands are going to come down because Canelo's one of the best body punchers in the business.
Yeah. Canelo told you what he was going to do before the fight started. And I told you what Canelo was going to do. Caleb had a tendency of fading at the end of pretty much all of his fights that go the distance.
Right.
Uzcategui, Feigen Boots, he faded. Caleb Truax, he faded. And those guys don't even apply that type of pressure.
Right.
So I seen how the fight was going to go before the fight happened. I told you Caleb was going to be sharp in those first 2, 3, 4 rounds. He gonna look good. He might even style on Canelo, and he did everything I said he was gonna do.
Right.
But that experience, what Canelo learned in the Floyd Mayweather fight was patience.
Right.
In the Floyd Mayweather fight, he got impatient and just started doing anything. Even when you notice when Caleb was giving him the side view and bending over, Canelo wasn't going crazy. He was still trying to place the shots. He was trying to feint Caleb into lifting up so he can get those left hooks off.
Yeah.
But that's experience. That's floor 10 versus floor 6 that Caleb didn't have. And that's no disrespect to Caleb. Caleb earned my respect. I already knew how good he was. And even in the comments you can see I said Caleb is an A-level fighter, but Canelo is elite. And that's what separates them. So what you think about everybody? It's always who's next. Canelo has gotten to that point where it's a who's next thing. It doesn't matter who he beats. It's always going to be, well, he did this or he did this wrong. It doesn't matter.
You know, we've touched on this subject a lot, and the bottom line is this: all these fighters that want the Canelo fight, man, say he's fighting in May. It's December. Are you gonna sit there and wait?
Yes, I bet you my bottom dollar.
Is Jamal Charlo gonna go fight somebody?
No, he's not.
Before, instead of waiting for the Canelo fight?
No, he's not.
Benavidez is fighting next week. And I don't think Benavidez is one that's gonna sit back and wait for a Canelo fight. He's gonna create his own lane. Charlo, I mean, I'm not the biggest Jamal Charlo fan, but when I look at styles, and when you look at the way these two guys fight, Jamal Charlo does not like people close to him. And he's not going to be able to keep Canelo
Call that shit
off.
like it is. He's some shit on the inside.
He's not
Call that shit like it is. I'm tired of this shit.
He's not a good inside fighter. And if once Canelo puts that pressure on him, he's going to fold. I mean, he struggled with Debrachenko. He struggled with Korobov. Who two guys that are not near Canelo's level. So do I want to see Jamal Charlo and Canelo Alvarez?
Yes, I do. That he needs to be next.
He wants to see Charlo get his ass whooped. I honestly think a better fight would be Andre, because Andre can move. There's other things that Andre can do that might be something that Canelo will have problems with. Jamal Charlo, I just don't see him having any problems with. And as I've said several times, the only one that I think has a chance to push Canelo back in the other direction is, because of his size, Benavidez.
Let me say this. You can't look at one attribute and say, oh, because Caleb did this person can do that. You have to put into account everything. Yes, Caleb is slick.
Right.
Yes, Andrade is slick. But Andrade is not a natural 168-pounder like Caleb.
True.
You see what I'm saying? I think Caleb's chin is way better than Demetrius Andrade. Demetrius Andrade gets dropped. His last fight, it looked like he was about to get knocked the fuck out.
Oh, yeah, that was...
And Andrade has the same tendency of looking good for the first 4 or 5 rounds, and then he fall off in the end of the fight. The fight will look the same.
When the last he knocked somebody out?
I don't know. He always come out and get a first round fucking knockout, and then he fade the fuck off at the end of the fight. The fight will look exactly the same. And I know, shout out to Black Fight Fan, I know he thinks Errol Spence or Terence Crawford, you have to put everything into account. Yes, those guys are slick. Yes, Errol applies pressure, but he's not 6'2". Crawford is not 6'2". Crawford doesn't have a chin. Like Canelo, when all else fails, Canelo can say, fuck boxing and fight. And a lot of these motherfuckers can't do that. Crawford can do it, but he don't have the chin to be able to do that with a Canelo. Yeah, you can be a dog, but he don't have that chin to be able to say, fuck it, I'm going to go blow for blow with Canelo. He has to be on his bike. And guess what? You're not going to win a fight against Canelo Alvarez moving away from him. You have to beat his ass.
I give Earl a better chance than I would give Crawford.
Man, I don't see nobody beating that man. And better be if might be the best case scenario. David Benavidez will give Canelo some trouble in the earlier rounds, but once Canelo figure him out, it's going to be a wrap for him too, because he don't have no fucking defense.
Well, those guys coming from 147, they're too small.
Yeah, leave them guys at 147 to fight with each other. That fight is good enough. Don't y'all Canelo is the man. It's okay. You know, like I hear people saying, "Oh, Canelo got exposed." How? He told you what the fuck he was going to do before the fight started. When Floyd Mayweather fought Marcos Maidana, and he said before the fight, "I'm going to make this fight interesting. I'm not going to move as much this fight. I'm going to stand in there and fight back more than normal. I'm going to give the fans what they want." Then he get in there and do the exact shit he said he was going to do before the fucking fight started. And now all of a sudden,
people said he lost.
Maidana lost. Then he come back and fucking do what he want to do with Maidana, and now you mad. Floyd was the fucking man. It's that simple. Yeah. And now it's fucking Canelo's time. It's that it is what it is. He's in his fucking bag right now. Tank Davis said it best. Canelo is the Tank Davis of 168. Because when all else fails, he can fucking go in there and knock you the fuck out. He can break orbital bones. He can fuck you up. It's that simple.
He's at the top of his game right now. And because of all the matchmaking that is done for certain fighters, when they get in the ring with him, they're not prepared for what he can do.
They do these guys a disservice. I said that shit a year ago. We keep talking about Charlo this. Who has Charlo fought? Meanwhile, Charlo fighting Brandon Adams and fucking Dennis Hogan, and Canelo fighting Kovalev and Danny Jacobs and Callum Smith and Billy Joe Saunders. He's getting all this experience on top of Cotto, Mosley, Mayweather, Lara, Triple G twice. He has the experience. These guys aren't prepared for that.
I mean, we always talk about Shawn Porter's resume. Well, I mean, with what the names he just rolled off, you got to give the man his credit. I mean, and I'm not a Canelo fan. I do want to see the man lose, but I'm not going to sit here and say he's not the best in boxing right now. That's just plain to see. You can't argue that. It is what it is.
When you get to the point where there's always something that's next, you've made it to the pinnacle. When whatever you do is never enough, you've made it to the pinnacle. When he not gonna do good because he not good at fighting slick boxers. The man cut the ring off excellent last night.
Yeah, he did. He did.
His fucking head, his defense was still exceptional last night. And most people don't realize, people looking at, Kayla was hitting him with jabs. When you fight certain people and you realize, take Tank Davis with Leo Santa Cruz. Once he realized, okay, you can't fucking hurt me, I'm gonna stand in the fire and knock your ass out. Once a motherfucker can't hurt you, what am I still here playing with you for?
Well, if anybody thought Canelo got hurt, and maybe I'm the only one that saw it, but that man went into the fight last night with a split or a cut lip.
I mean, the only person that's seen it.
I mean, I'm thinking like, well, I know he's gonna get his lip split tonight, and the fact that he walked out of the fight pretty much looking the same as he started it, I mean, man wasn't hurting. Bottom line.
All I'm saying is, at some point, and I saw my buddy Fred, shout out to Fred from Barbershop Conversations, he said it. Canelo is in his bag right now. And the fact that everybody is making him the guy. Did you see the arena last night? How many of those same fighters you see at everybody else fight? Everybody wants to see Canelo. Everybody wants a piece of Canelo. They are making him the face of boxing.
Well, man, the man has a country behind him. Right
now. It's not about the country. Let me ask you this. How many of those fighters have you seen Canelo go to? How many fights of Errol Spence have you seen Canelo go to?
I mean, the only people I see him fights he go to is
I seen him at Andy Ruiz. That's about it.
Ruiz and what's the other boy? Ryan Garcia.
Okay, Garcia fight. His camp. Yeah. I don't see him at Charlo fight. I don't see him at Errol fight. I don't see him at none of these motherfuckers fights.
Well, I mean, Errol. I mean, for Errol to be able to fill up Dallas Stadium, he's getting it done.
I'm not saying he's not, but what I'm saying is these guys are making Canelo the face of boxing because of how they portray him.
Well,
when he went to fucking Florida, you know what? You see everybody on their private jets trying to fly to fucking Florida to see Canelo. You don't see Canelo on his private jet flying to Texas to see these niggas.
I agree with you, but I mean, like you said, I mean, with everybody that you just named, I will give Errol Spence this. Errol Spence ain't waiting for nobody. Errol
I agree.
Spence is creating his own lanes.
I agree, and that's what I'm saying. Don't let Errol do what he has to do in his division. Earl got an opportunity to become undisputed in his own division.
Errol Spence does not.
He don't need to go up and
Alvarez.
fight no fucking Canelo. I understand that you guys are looking for the next guy to beat him. But unfortunately, Errol Spence got his own business to worry about. I know it's a big fight, but take care of 147 first. That's all I'm saying. Earl can't fuck with Canelo.
And if you want somebody to actually mess with Canelo, then push these guys to fight bigger and better fights, or just to fight each other, to build their skills up so that they can deal with Canelo Alvarez when that opportunity comes. I mean, quite honestly, like I said, some people want to see the Charlo fight. I really don't, because I already know what's going to happen.
I want to see it because, you know, like I told you a year ago, the same shit that people saying about, oh, we knew Plant. No, you didn't. Because you motherfuckers was saying that because he was slick, he was going to be the guy. That's what y'all was saying. Just like now, oh, Charlo got a good jab. He go in there and beat the shit out of Charlo. You know what they going to say? Oh, well, Charlo really didn't beat anybody, but oh, look at J-Rock now. Like, it's always going to be something. I don't give a fuck if Canelo fight you next. He can do what the fuck he want to do at this point. It's that simple. Like, I mean, it is what it is.
So a skill, I mean, as far as skills, like you said, he said he wants to fight in May. I need to watch Better Beef a little more, but Better Beef is what, 35 now?
37.
37.
But guess what? Beforehand, this whole Better Beef is strong, Better Beef is this. Then Canelo go there and beat his ass, then they gonna say he was old.
Yeah.
But guess what? Ortiz wasn't old when Wilder knocked his ass out, right?
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Canelo got exposed last night. Even though he told you what the fuck he was gonna do before the fight, he got exposed. But when Wilder lose 7 rounds to Ortiz and pull a fucking knockout out, it's the greatest thing since fucking sliced bread, right? And I'm not hating. I love Wilder. Wilder, one of my favorite fighters. You know that. But I'm just saying, like, keep it a buck. That man putting in work right now. It ain't nobody in the sport of boxing right now that's $1 million fighter that's fighting as much as Canelo. That's doing what the fuck Canelo doing right now.
Man, 5 times in what?
And
5 times since November.
Bruh, since December, that man has fought four times and collected all the belts in less than a year. It's not even December again. Meanwhile, Charlo's still holding on to the belt that they emailed him when Canelo moved up.
Who got what? Okay, Triple G is fighting for next in December for Marauder.
I think he's fighting for Canelo's old belt.
What's that, the WBO?
All of them his. They all his old belts.
So he had the WBO and the WBC belts.
Who?
Canelo.
Canelo had all the belts except for WBO.
And he was trying to get the Saunders fight.
No, he was trying to get the Andre fight, but the zone wouldn't approve it. They only approved Triple G3 or Kovalev, which is why he took the Kovalev fight.
Right.
But people ain't gonna say that shit. You know what I'm saying? People not gonna say, oh, Canelo was trying to get that fight. Canelo even said it on one of the fucking interviews.
Okay, so he was trying to get the Andre fight because what they was trying to make
the zone
Charlo,
didn't approve the Andre fight.
But they was trying to make Charlo the mandatory, which is why he said, "Well, I'll just go and win somewhere else."
No, the WBC made Canelo the franchise so that he could make those fights. But then when he tried to make the WBO fight with Demetrius Andrade, the zone denied that fight. And then the IBF came in and made Derevchenko a mandatory, which they was trying to make him fight Derevchenko. But guess what? He didn't duck Derevchenko because don't nobody give a shit about Derevchenko. But he ducked Charlo because people want to see the Charlo fight. I want him to beat his fucking ass. Like, please, I hope this motherfucker's next. I can't stand this motherfucker, Slim.
Well, Canelo, from your #1 fan, please take the Charlo
I'm just saying, like, fuck the fan shit. Like, at the end of the day, I hate motherfuckers that have energy against certain people one way and don't keep that shit even.
Yeah.
My energy gonna be the same. I don't give a fuck who's standing in front of me.
Yeah.
You gonna pull up on fucking Caleb Plant and say all this bullshit to him when that man trying to focus for his fucking fight. But you ain't pull up on fucking Canelo. Why the fuck you wasn't in that press conference last night when Canelo got up there with that undisputed jacket on? If you gonna be a solid nigga, be a solid nigga.
He's not a solid nigga because when Benavidez offered him to fight and he didn't take it, Charlo's off my radar. Period. Period.
Now all of a sudden you 168. But I bet you if Canelo say, you know what? I'm gonna take a tune-up in February and fight Andre Darrell. You and Benavidez fight, and then I'll fight the winner. And let's see if you 168 then. I can't stand. I will fight anybody. I don't give a fuck who it is.
Yeah, I mean,
like I can't stand that shit. Like nigga, if you solid, be solid.
Yeah, when he did that, I mean, that just like I said, that put him off my radar. I mean, he could have took the Benavidez fight, and if you beat Benavidez, you put pressure on Canelo to take the fight with you. You give Canelo a reason, you give the public a reason to fight for you to get that fight.
Watch this. When Keith Thurman was the man, right? Mm-hmm. And Errol Spence said, I want Keith Thurman. Mm-hmm. And Keith Thurman said, nah, I'm going to wait and fight when it's for 3 belts or when it's for undisputed or whatever the fuck he said, right? Mm-hmm. Did Errol not fight and just sit around and say, oh, let me wait for Keith?
He was having a hard time getting a fight.
He was having a hard time getting a fight. And you know who stepped up?
Lamont Peterson.
Lamont Peterson.
Yeah.
He beat Lamont Peterson. Much respect to Lamont Peterson because he's from the city. And then Mikey's, out of all the fucking welterweights in the division, Mikey said, you know what? I'll go up and fight him.
No Keith Thurman.
He beat the shit out of Mikey. Mm-hmm. Then he wanted the Shawn fight. Okay, you can't do nothing but tip your head to Shawn Porter because he fights everybody.
Right.
Porter had to fight Ugas. He beat Ugas, and then now what? Now everybody's trying to fight Errol. Right. He's put himself in a position to be the man by not waiting to see what the fuck Keith Thurman was going to do.
Right. Because if he waited for Keith Thurman, he wouldn't be there today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's all I've been saying. Like, I'm not saying, oh, well, Charlo don't deserve a fight. He deserve a fight. That I don't think he could beat him, but he deserve a fight. But at the end of the day, you can't name me a fighter in history that's taken tough fight after tough fight after tough fight after tough fight with no tune-ups in between. You can't name me one. I don't give a fuck how far you go back. Even Ali took tune-ups or Chuck Webner.
I give that to Errol Spence because Errol Spence, although after the car accident, took Danny Garcia, which I thought was a dangerous fight.
Yeah, but that's a tune-up for Errol.
Which is in itself a sad thing, but
that's a tune-up for Errol. I'm not disrespecting. Danny, one of my favorites.
But even after this layoff, he's saying, I only want Ugas, so I only want Terence Crawford. I don't want no tune-ups.
And I respect him for that. 100% Errol got 100% respect for me. Crawford got 100% respect for me. Win, lose, or draw versus Porter. You know why? Because he fucking stood on his 10 toes. And he took that fucking fight when people say he didn't want to fight none of these hard fucking fighters. Shawn Porter, nothing but respect for me. You know why? Because he fucking fights everybody. Kayla Plant, 100% respect for me. You know why? Because he got in that fucking ring and put on a show. Win, lose, or draw. And Kayla Plant is good enough to be able to take that loss, learn from that shit, and come back and be better. The same way Canelo took his fucking loss, learn from that shit, and now look at him.
Do you think Charlo would take a Caleb Plant fight?
Hell no. Why? But you know why? Because they feel if I lose, that Canelo, what hope I do have for that Canelo fight is now gone. And that's what's fucking boxing up.
Yeah, I mean, and to all the young fighters, please just challenge yourself. There's nothing wrong with a challenge.
If you that fucking good,
you
go fight.
Go fight. I mean, some of the greatest fighters, Ray Leonard is to me one of the best fighters of all time. Lost to Duran, got depressed, but came back and beat Duran's ass. I mean, losing is supposed to make you better.
Holyfield lost to Bo. You know what made him great? Coming back and winning. Yeah. Then beating Tyson. Like, there's no shame in losing. I
mean, hell, he lost to Michael Moore. What did he do?
Came back and beat that ass.
Beat that ass. I mean, that's what the best have done. Floyd Mayweather got away with winning and being undefeated. But
he didn't get away with that motherfucker that good. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? He's good.
Yeah, he's good.
The motherfucker good. You know what I'm saying?
That's another subject.
It don't matter. At the end of the day, you can't shame Floyd Mayweather's career because his resume is full of Hall of Fame fighters and champions.
But the other thing that Floyd Mayweather did not do was wait on anybody.
He ain't wait. He said, "Okay, fuck it. I can't get
this
Oscar.
fight.
Give me Gotti.
Fight.
I can't get this." Like you can't sit here and wait. That's like trying to wait to win the fucking lottery. You can't fucking. It's not gonna happen for everybody. Sometimes you gotta fucking put your feet in the ground and go work for what you get. It's that simple. Canelo didn't get this shit easy.
And the thing is, I mean, you know, I look at a Jamal Charlo, and if say he doesn't get the Canelo Alvarez fight, what will his legacy be?
You know what he gonna do? He gonna be at the next Canelo fight and not get in the ring and fucking call him out like Lara did, or not go to the press conference and call him out like fucking Canelo or Caleb Plant said you a fucking cheat, and it is what it is. He got his ass whooped, but he got in the fucking ring. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't fucking matter.
So you saying he don't even... What? Wait, didn't he turn that fight down before anyway?
He turned the fight down because, like I said...
He said it was money, right?
Well, no, I think it was more so like not enough time to train, which I respect, because my thing is, if you accept the fight, then there's no excuses.
I agree.
Once you step in the ring, you chose to do that. So if you get in the ring with a fucking injury, that's your fault. I don't want to hear it after the fact. You see fucking Errol pulled out of the Manny Pacquiao fight with an eye injury, right? Right. That's what he should have did. Don't get in the fight, get your ass whooped, and then you start making excuses. No, pull out of the fucking fight until you healthy enough to fight. Or don't make no fucking excuses.
I mean, Manny did that shit twice with fighting Floyd and
Ugas. I don't like that. Like, be fucking solid. That's one of the reasons why I respect Canelo so much. You know why? Because when he lost to Floyd, he didn't make no fucking excuses. He didn't act like he won. Even the judge that had it scored a draw, he said, "I don't know where he got that scorecard from. I lost." He was good. He was too good. Everything is advertised. I got to go back to the drawing board and get better. And that's what the fuck he did. All that excuse shit for the birds. Once you sign that fucking shit and you get in that ring, it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
that's why I respect Jared Hurd. He didn't make no fucking excuses. All this media shit that they had him doing that he was never had to do before, he didn't make no fucking excuses. Julian Williams was the better man tonight. Simple as that. When he lost to Arias the last fight, I thought I did enough to win the 2 knockdowns or whatever the case may be. But, I mean, he was the better man tonight. It is what it is. Tony Harrison lose to Charlo. You see him making any excuses? No. I had that motherfucker. I slipped up. You know what I'm saying? That's why I respect those guys. Yeah. Charlo lose, and all of a sudden I hate playing video games because I don't like to lose. Like, what the fuck is you talking about? I hate that shit. That shit. You a fucking sucker. Like, you fucking lose, you lose.
Okay, but you gotta put that on Wilder too then.
I have to go for him too. I don't have no cut costs for none of these motherfuckers.
I mean,
that go for everybody. Yeah. You fucking lose, you lose. There's no fucking excuses. And I appreciate fucking Tay Jones for not making no excuses. He lost. The man put up a hell of a fucking fight. He gave us one of the greatest fights, as far as excitement is concerned, that we've seen in a long fucking time. I appreciate Wilder for that. I had so much fun watching that fucking fight. But he lost. Yeah. There's no shame in that. The man gave his all. He fucking pulled the knockout out of his ass when he was dead tired. He fucking shook Fury's whole goddamn body. He lost though. It's no excuses. The only thing you can do is heal the fuck up, go back to the drawing board and try to get better, and don't do the same shit the next fight.
I mean,
we give these fighters too much leeway.
But I think that's society now. But I mean, like I said, for me, I hope Wilder does get back in the ring, because I still think he can go on a 5 to 10.
Tyson Fury is the only heavyweight that can beat Deontay Wilder because of his attributes. Once again, Andy Ruiz can't think he's going to get in there and fucking bully Wilder. It's not the same.
Yeah, and I would like to see that fight, but he stretches.
Dillian White can't get in there and bully fucking Wilder. It's not the same.
Yeah.
Tyson Fury just has his number. Just like Deontay Wilder got Luis Ortiz's number. It's okay.
Yeah, because it's quite possible that none of those guys you just named, well, not only can beat Ortiz, but won't fight him.
It won't fucking fight him. Because Ortiz will give all the motherfuckers fits.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. Niggas don't want to fight Ortiz. You know why? You know why Dillian White pulled out of that fucking fight with Otto Weiland? Because he has a direct path to Tyson Fury. So why would he take that fight and risk fucking up that fight? These fighters are fucking suckers, bruh. I'm telling you. Yeah. Like that shit, if you a fucking fighter, be a fighter. I'm not saying be dumb and whatever the case may be and don't take care of your business or whatever the case may be. But if you believe you're the best,
you fight anyway.
Then fucking fight and prove it. Jermell Charlo.
Yeah.
He did that.
Yeah. He fought everybody at
You know what I'm saying? Win, lose, or draw.
Yep.
He lost to Harrison, came back. Even though I felt like he shouldn't have fucking complained, he came back and got a fucking knockout victory.
Actually, I mean, and a lot of people felt he won that first fight, but yeah, he came back.
I don't think he won the first fight, but even still, it's not about what I think.
But he came
the man,
back.
Thank you. The man went back. Yes,
and not only won that fight, but
then knocked out Rosario.
Then knocked out Rosario, but he didn't get the belt off Costanzo.
But like this is why I say the excuse shit, because if you're gonna give him credit for people thinking that he won the Harrison fight, then you got to take fucking credit away from him because I thought he lost the Castano fight. So it goes both ways.
Why hasn't that rematch been signed?
Man, who knows? But like I said, man, at the end of the day, Canelo has earned the place that he's at.
The man is the best in the business right now, and until somebody, like I said, if you keep matchmaking and you're trying to protect zeros just to get that fight, I mean, I want to see a good fight. I want to see the man challenge. To me, the only challenge at 168 for this man right now is Benavidez. Charlo can stay at 160. Hey, why don't you try unifying your division and then step up and fight the man? How about that?
Think about this. If Charlo say, you know what? I'm not about to beg for this Canelo fight. Let me see what's up with Murata. That's a belt that I can go get and be unified champion. Andrade has already said, let's get it on Jamal Charlo. Eddie Hearn has said Andrade could come to PBC if need be. Just like Canelo is fighting on Showtime.
They offered him $7 million, didn't they?
I don't care about the money. I don't know. I don't want to get into that because I don't know.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, you could have had an opportunity to be a 3-belt champion at 160 to where as though there's really no fight for Triple G to fight except you.
Well, and then, like you said, to be a unified champion, that makes your resume much better for that Canelo fight. So
if you unified and became undisputed at 160, how big of a fight don't you think Canelo would be like, well, shit, he undisputed at 160, I'm undisputed at 168.
Yeah, hell, fight for 8 belts.
You can't fight for 8 belts because you can't fight for. But I get what you're saying. Yeah. There's 2 undisputed champions from divisions.
That's a hell of a fight.
Let's see.
But that would be considered a first time thing, wouldn't it?
Well, I don't know because I mean, from in a 4-belt era, yeah. But I know Teofimo Lopez was trying to do it with Josh Taylor. But once again, they saying he not undisputed no more. But who the fuck knows? That's why I'm saying fight at any given time. These sanctioning bodies could say, "Oh, well, you know what? You're not the real champion. We're putting somebody above you." Like that shit is dumb. Yeah. So just fucking fight. Prove you're the best at the end of the day. Like all of this, I get it. Floyd did what he did, and now everybody want to be fucking Floyd. Canelo to me is showing you a new way of doing this shit. He fighting 4 or 5 times a year, and he whooping ass. And it's simple as that. Like at the end of the day, like I told you, nobody's gonna beat Canelo for the next 2 to 3 years because he's in his absolute prime. His mental has reached his physical, and now he's in his absolute prime. Now 2 or 3 years from now, maybe somebody will beat him. But as of right now, that man's the best in the world. And if he's smart enough, he get the fuck out when he 33, 34 and go ahead on in the sunlight like Andre Ward did. Now they talking about, well, Andre Ward need to come out. Y'all just looking for somebody to beat the man. If he beat Andre Ward ass, you know what they gonna say? Well, Andre Ward was retired for 4 years. Like who? Like just give it up, bruh. Like give it up, bruh. They did the same shit with Floyd. They did the same shit with fucking Roy Jones, and they gonna do the same shit with Canelo.
You always gonna have naysayers. That's just the way of the world.
Same shit with Wilder. When Wilder was stretching everybody, it was, well, he can't beat Dillian White. Yes, the fuck he can.
What that is that idiot at the movie theater.
Like, come on, man. Man, I'm done with this shit. But like I said, man, at the end of the day, man, give that man his credit, man. And this the thing. Motherfuckers mad at Canelo about shit Canelo ain't even did. It's not his fault the judges love him. It ain't his fault he the fucking money man.
I mean, the bottom line is, with knowing that knowledge, I mean, I know that when you go into a Canelo fight, if you don't dominate the fight, if you don't knock him out, if you don't show the judges that you're winning, I mean, and that means you have to make him go backwards some. That means you're going to have to land some shots. You can't pity pat. I mean, yeah, Plant was landing shots last night, but I'll say again, if I'm standing across from a man and I see his lip is busted, I'm going to try to split his fucking lip before the end of the night. That's first and foremost. I mean...
But if you watch Caleb Plant's fight, he's never been... Caleb is a sharp puncher. He wants to look good. He likes, ha, ha, blah, 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 blah.
That's not going to be Canelo Alvarez. You're going to have to sit on your punches and fight that man.
You got to steam him. And then when you sit on your punches, you have to be willing and ready to say, I know some shit is coming back and I got to turn into a dog because Canelo going to turn into... It's the same thing with Tank Davis. You're not going to... When Tank Davis feels he can't outbox you, he's going to turn into mini Canelo. He's going to walk forward. He's going to hit you with shit that's going to break your ass in half. And he's going to fucking stop you. It's that simple. And if you don't have the dog, that's why I want to see him versus Gary Russell, because I know Gary Russell a dog.
Well, I don't think he want that Gary Russell fight.
But it's not that I don't think he wanted. I think Tank will fight anybody. Just like I think Canelo will fight anybody. It's like I told y'all, when everybody was saying, oh, Canelo didn't want no smoke with the PBC fighters. Bro, what makes you think Canelo is scared of Demetrius Andrade?
I mean, Andre's not a PBC fighter.
I'm just saying, like, what makes you think he's scared of Charlo? Yeah. What is Charlo doing that Canelo has never seen before? Oh, he got a good jab. Triple G didn't have one of the best jabs in the business. Lara didn't have a good jab.
The thing about Triple G, when they fought, Triple G was still, well, outside of Danny Jacobs, knocking people out. So,
even Danny Jacobs, he dropped.
Yeah. So, that was a dangerous fight.
Like at the end of the day, man, the man. You know, it's just like if Errol Spence beats Crawford, or if Crawford beats Errol Spence, regardless of who you like, you gotta get a man credit.
Give the man credit. If Terence Crawford beats Shawn Porter, and I'm rooting for Shawn Porter, but if he beats Shawn Porter, I'm gonna have to say, man, Terence Crawford the better fighter. I'm not gonna say, well, Shawn Porter lost to this person and that's why he was... No, he beat Shawn Porter. Same thing with Kell Brook. I mean, and they beat me up with that one.
I didn't beat you up because I told you. At the end of the day, I told you. If he beats Kell Brook, he getting respect from me.
He gets his credit.
Because you can't say, oh, he was a broken fighter, but then give Errol Spence credit when Triple G broke his ass up right before Errol Spence.
Right.
Like, I'm not doing that.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I ain't getting nothing from none of these motherfuckers. So I'm going to call it the way I fucking see it.
Right.
So, and so Crawford is going to get all the respect in the world from me. You know why? Because he knocked his ass out in 4 rounds.
Well, I mean, Terence Crawford gets all the respect anyway for his accomplishments in the ring thus far. And like I say, he's ready to step up in competition. And that is the beauty. I mean, that is the great thing about this fight. You got 2 A-level fighters going at one another.
And the thing is, don't down Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant went in there and did what a lot of motherfuckers couldn't do, which was not be a fucking freak. So Caleb Plant get 100% respect from me, and Caleb Plant will be better after this. And to be honest, I hope he calls Canelo and say like, cause I believe Canelo is the type of person that'll be like, well, you know, I think you did this wrong, or you did this wrong, and that'll make him fucking better. It's no shame in communicating. That's like if we at work and I say, well, shit, Alan, you keep getting done fast. What the fuck you doing different? Like, I need to know so I can figure this shit out. There's no shame in that. You're trying to get better.
Right.
But like I said, man, Canelo the man, and it's as simple as that. I mean, I don't see nobody whooping him. Not for the next 2 years.
Well, for the all the shows that dedicate themselves to the PBC, why don't y'all ask Charlo to take that Andre fight or take that Caleb Plant fight or the Benavidez fight?
I'm not fighting no fucking Caleb Plant. He's not fighting Benavidez. The only way he would have fought Caleb Plant is if Caleb Plant would have beat Canelo tonight. But what I'm saying is, why didn't you run down on Canelo? Like, if Charlo was fighting, this is how I look at it. If I'm in the biggest fight of my fucking life, don't come talking to me about no fucking fight. Fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not worried about you, Slim. You here at my fight. You watching me weigh in.
Oh yeah, that was with Kayla playing who he ran up on.
Like, I don't like that shit. Like, oh, you know we go, bruh, get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause
well, that's both of them though.
Who? Caleb don't do that shit.
No. That's both of them Charlo brothers. Man, they love attention. It is what it is.
They like attention when the camera on. Exactly. But what I'm saying is, they was at the fight. Why didn't they get in the ring when Canelo was holding the belts? Why he ain't get in and be the dog from Houston that they swear they are? I'm tired of motherfuckers talking about where they come from. It's hoods every fucking way. Like, who the fuck, everybody, niggas, if you came up in a fucking hood, you came up in a fucking hood. Like, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm tired of that shit.
I'm from Southeast.
Man.
Yeah.
Batman boxing talk, man.
We out.
We out.
Hail to the king right now, Canelo Alvarez.